blocked me on Facebook, and now you're going to die.
Shit!
Welcome to the first module of the Practical Cryptography course. In this module, we'll discuss what is cryptography. Specifically, there are three terms we're going to discuss: confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. What is cryptography? Let's describe it using a simple example of Beth trying to speak to Gary. Beth has a message for Gary. Beth wants to send this message across the wire. The problem is, as soon as Beth puts the message on the wire, there's no telling who might be listening in on the conversation. Anything Beth sends across the wire, we can safely assume will be captured by the man in the middle. Cryptography provides us with tools to secure this traffic. Specifically, there are three services cryptography allows us to provide in order to consider the traffic secure. The first is confidentiality. Confidentiality is making sure that only the intended recipient can interpret the data. Anything captured on the wire should look indistinguishable from random text. The second is integrity. Integrity is making sure that the data cannot be modified or changed in transit. It's one thing to prevent the attacker from reading the contents of the message. It's another thing entirely to prevent the attacker from changing the contents of the message. And finally, authentication is all about making sure Beth is who she claims to be and Gary is who he claims to be. When Beth sends a message, Beth wants to make sure it's really Gary she is speaking to. And when Gary receives a message, he wants to make sure that it's really Beth that sent it. So authentication is about ensuring both entities are who they claim to be. Each of these services are provided with different tools within cryptography. Confidentiality is provided with encryption. Integrity is provided with hashing. We're going to spend a good amount of time discussing encryption and hashing and how each of these provides confidentiality and integrity. Authentication is provided indirectly based upon how integrity and hashing are performed. We'll discuss this in great detail later on in this course. We've been discussing securing data as it passes across a wire between Beth and Gary. This is referred to as securing data in transit. Securing data in transit is all about securing data as it passes through an insecure medium. We already discussed how as soon as Beth puts something on the wire, there's no telling who might be listening in on the conversation. So it makes sense to use cryptography to secure data in transit. But there's another type of data we need to consider securing. That is known as data at rest. Data at rest is not concerned about securing data as it passes between two entities. It's actually concerned about securing data as it passes from one entity to some sort of permanent storage and then back to the same entity. This is known as securing data at rest while it's resting on the storage device. Now, a common example of this would be something like a disk drive or a portable thumb drive or even a portable hard drive. If an attacker is able to steal the thumb drive or hard drive, we don't want them to be able to access the contents of the files. But it also extends to permanent storage like computer hard drives or laptops. Laptops are often a source of theft, and if someone is able to steal the laptop, we don't want them to be able to extract the information from the hard drive. And finally, a big thing these days is cloud storage. Things like Dropbox or SkyDrive or Google Drive and a plethora of other companies providing the service, allowing users to store files onto the cloud. Those companies that are providing the service technically have access to the data. Now, hopefully, they have policies in place to prevent their employees from accessing that data, but that's not necessarily something you want to depend on. Instead, you want to use cryptography to secure data at rest while it's sitting in storage in the cloud. So, to summarize this lesson, cryptography provides us the tools to attain three services: confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. The purpose of these tools is to secure data in transit and data at rest. I hope you've enjoyed the first module of the Practical Cryptography course.
You blocked me on Facebook, and now you're going to die.
Shit!